Adam. We'll call the meeting back to order. Welcome everybody this morning. We should do this more than once every other week, and then I'd know enough to turn the microphone on. We did have a closed session meeting beforehand, and I have a motion moved by John Eccles and seconded by Bev Cutting. Be it resolved that the Council of the Municipality of West Grey hereby returns to open session of Council at 10:05 a.m. Any questions or comments on this motion? All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Thank you, Mark. And there was only those matters that we went into closed session were the only matters that were discussed. Mark, if we could have that in the minutes. Matters arising from closed session. We do have one matter. Have a motion moved by Don B. Marshall and seconded by John Eccles. Be resolved that the Council of the Municipality of West Grey hereby declares land as surplus as the needs of the municipality described as Plan 508, Part Lots 2 to 4, WGR, RP 16R 8659, Parts 4 to 8, 790 Garifraxa Street North, former town of Durham. And further, the Council authorizes the aforementioned lands to be advertised for sale by real estate through Wilfred McEntee and Company Limited at a listed price of $125,900. Any questions or comments on this motion? Carol.
Well, it just says McEntee. I better declare conflict.
Very good. So noted. Yep. So Councillor Lawrence is...
It's third letter, right?
That's McEntee, and we'll just... Yep. Carol has declared conflict on that. Okay. Anything further on the motion? I'll call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Okay. Public meetings, we have none. Consent agenda. I have a motion moved by Bev Cutting and seconded by Mark Rapke. Be it resolved that items A1 to C1 inclusive contained in Part 1 consent agenda be adopted. And further, that authorization be given for the actions to be taken as may be necessary to give effect to the recommendations contained therein. Any questions or comments on the consent? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Mark, then I'll ask you to send out those resolutions to take effect for those on the consent. There you go, guys. Brings us down to greetings, comments, Councillor and Mayor and Deputy Mayor. Communications. Anybody have any communications? Councillor Eccles, John.
Over the last month or so, I've been to a few meetings and dinners on behalf of the council and mayor, the Bennick Plowing Match, Normanby Plowing Match, and Duffer and Gray ATV clubs. I just can't, it's hard to believe the support that these local little communities have, and it's just nice to see that there's so many people come out and support them. And it's a feeling that it's these little little groups that really are the fabric that hold our community together. And anybody that's involved in one of them, I'd just like to say thank you for the hard work that you do.
Thanks, John. Councillor Lawrence, Carol.
I'd just like to remind everyone that Newstead's Christmas in the Village, which is sponsored by the Newstead Recreation Advisory Committee, is the 14th. And this is our attempt, and I think it's a good attempt. As you recall, the 500 for the Christmas in the Village was directed to the Recreation Committee to look after once the businesses were kind of backed out of it. So they've what we've got is a shop and visit the downtown stores, fill out a ballot, and there's going to be a draw for $100. And so that's our attempt to draw people into the village and into the stores, and hoping the $100 is an enticement as a prize. And also all of the ads and the cash prizes for the float, for the parade is part of that money. And so there's going to certainly be more costs than the 500, so anything over and above the 500 for Christmas in the Village is going to come from the Newstead Rex fundraising. We're also having open house, hot chocolate, and activities at the library from 11 to 3, again in an attempt to draw more people into the library. So hopefully it's a success, and just ask everybody that's free to come to that. Ayton, we met the other day, or Normanby, sorry, and they're very, very happy, I might say, with the Christmas tree that was put there, thanks to the Parks, West Grey Parks Committee. And next year then they're planning probably to have a celebration much like Durham or Elmwood just had Friday. And lastly, Mr. Mayor, the instruments have, most of the instruments have arrived for the Durham Girls Alumni Band. There are some still to come, and there's still some things to be purchased, but as soon as everything's in, then we hopefully can get the Trillium grant reporting wound up, and in time to apply for March 1st for the Ayton Arena washrooms. Okay, so they played them on the horns, not the drums, but the horns on Friday night, or Saturday night, sorry, in Arthur, and apparently they sounded wonderful. So, and just a little bit of something. We had a nice comment from Owen Sound. We marched in their parade 2 weeks ago. The coordinator was in touch and said we were wonderful and invited us back next year. So it's very nice to hear.
Very good. And I've got to say that I don't know whether I'm naughty, and I hope Santa Claus doesn't feel it that way, but I went down and saw some of the okay, so I'm naughty. Yeah, I already voted that way. Okay, well then I won't bother. I did go down, we got some pictures for, Eunice helped me out on the musical instruments down there. The horns, the brass I stayed away from. I did pick up one of the drums, and I just banged away on the box. I didn't even pull it out the drum, so there's no damage done. It's still in very good shape.
That's good, because we have to change the drum heads yet.
Excellent. Any other comments? Bev?
I'd just like to report that the West Grey Parks Committee has been very busy. They had their first ever Elmwood tree lighting ceremony on Friday night, and that you emceed it, and they said you did an extremely good job, and it was a good turnout, and the chamber provided hot chocolate and squares, and that it was well attended, and they're going to plan more events like that, 48 hours, because it really was a good turnout. Sometimes events that are planned for weeks are not as good. So they also have been putting up the swags along the main, along the bridges, and the bridges were done, I think they were completed on Friday in Durham. And also the Newstead tree is lit in the park. That was done last week. And also the Ayton tree has been lit. So there's still a few things to do in Durham to finish off the Christmas decorating, but they're working hard and they're doing a great job. So.
Excellent. Yes, thank you for that, Bev. And yeah, it was very nice. Joanne and I were there, and then we proceeded from there to go over to one of our neighboring municipalities on Friday night. Was the municipality of Mildmay. South Bruce has their hanging of the green, very large parade. We said Mildmay is a village town of about 1,200, 1,500 people, and the hanging of the green, there was only about somewhere between 6,000 and 7,000 people lined Main Street, 3 deep, from about the pool right up to the corner at the arena. So pretty amazing to see everybody come out. And they hung around for a little bit. There was a few of the establishments were still open, so you couldn't get in. So Joanne and I just came home. We were very good. Well, Joanne was good and dragged me home. Other than that, the Santa's breakfast in Elmwood was Saturday morning as well, too. Santa reported back to me that there was well over 100 children participated, had more than 100 there for breakfast. The kids were free, and an awful lot of children were out there to give them and keep them on that going for their kickoff and homecoming celebrations that they're going to have this coming summer. The September Labor Day weekend is the Elmwood homecoming going to be there, and they're got another fair number of other things planned to lead up to the homecoming itself. So it'll be a full year of celebrating in Elmwood. Was able to participate, got down to the co-op annual general meeting. So Councillor Eccles was there too. This year they had it in Newstead, and again another user that just found it absolutely fabulous, the hall down there, and did an excellent job. Good to see that the North Wellington Co-op reported another profitable year, and their community support for a number of activities is greatly appreciated. So that was great. Deputy Mayor Bell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just real quickly, I was asked by yourself to represent West Grey at the kickoff for the Salvation Army Kettle Drive, and that was great. Kettle Drive is a big part of their raising efforts at this time of year. They have lowered their target to $47,500 from $50,000, recognizing all of the needs in not only West Grey but Hanover and surrounding area. Lieutenant Sterling was there and explained a few things about the process and how things work. And just in case anybody was wondering, yes, I did have money in my hand when it was on top of the kettle. I had a couple of so-called friends accuse me of not having anything in my hand. So I just want to make that clear that Mayor Maskell and I did donate through our collaborative efforts the same. And going forward, I'm sure the needs will be met throughout the community.
And on that, before I forget, I have one of the Salvation Army supporters, volunteers that looks after the kettle. We have had the kettle last year, was kind of the first time that they had it in Durham. So they were looking for council members to see if there was a time when we could coordinate ourselves around that. And I'll distribute that number to all the council members, and you can phone and book a time when we can volunteer to help at the kettle.
Do you know what day?
No, not as of yet. They haven't given me that. Carol?
I just wanted to mention as well the bridge lighting in Durham. Is this Wednesday night, I believe, at 6:30?
Yes.
So I hope everybody's out. And Mr. Mayor, just back to the instruments, the Durham girls have had borrowed instruments since a year ago March from Preston Scout House. And then early in the spring, we borrowed drums from the Toronto Optimus Drum Corps. So those will be going back, but without those instruments that were lent to us, there wouldn't be a Durham Girls. So they're going back, but with much gratitude and thanks. So.
Well, and from what I understand, there's more instruments downstairs than what you have people to use them right at the present moment, and you're always appreciative for anybody that would like to come out and give a try at any time.
Yes, we very much would like anybody from 12 to 112, I'm told, is eligible to come and join us. It's Thursday night, every Thursday night at Spruce Ridge School. And we surely would welcome new members.
Very good. Okay. Anything else from any of the council members? Communications? Then we are down then to delegations. We have two delegations this morning, and we're a couple of minutes late, and I apologize for that, Doug, but we have Doug Hutchison with us, wants to talk about walking, or the safety of walking, or sidewalks to walk on. I'll turn it over to you, Doug. Just for Adam's production facilities, there is a microphone at the podium there, so if you want to make a presentation to us, just ask you use the microphone, black button on the right You'll know you've hit the right one when it turns, you've got it there.
Right there.
You're live now, so be careful what you say, it's being recorded.
Thank you. Well, Mr. Mayor and councillors, I'd like to thank you for listening to our proposal this morning. As you know from your agenda that we'd like you to consider a sidewalk on Durham Road East. We have a small delegation this morning. I'm Doug Hutchison. I live in 711 Durham Road East, and my wife Mary and Tom and Margaret Latham live on Arthur Street, just off of Durham Road East. We, though our delegation is small this morning, we do have a petition that we have 74 names signed from the majority of the people that live on our road, plus a few people that use the road on a regular basis. So our concern is, as Mr. Mayor has mentioned, is safety. And in 2012, I wrote a letter to the council asking that you consider looking at a sidewalk or some means of making it a little safer in our area regarding that. And in 2013, Margaret also wrote a letter to council asking sort of the same thing, that we have a busy road, and we're concerned with the safety in the area. There's a lot of pedestrians that use that road. There's a lot of traffic. As you know, Durham Road East is actually sort of classified as a bypass to the town of Durham, though we hate to think that people would want to bypass Durham, but it does get used a lot by trucks. And there's a number of people that use the area to access the park when they go walking. We have people that use the area to walk their dogs. And it is a very busy road. So we'd like to be proactive and reactive and try to do something up there that we can get people off the road somewhat. There are some spots that are very narrow, and it is dangerous as you walk along there and you have some of those vehicles come along. So we have also in that area, we have some new development going on. We have 22 new homes that have been built in the last few years. Plus there's 12 lots at least, if not more, in that area that are going to be developed someday. So it is growing, and there has been talk. I think Margaret had mentioned to some councillors that if not a sidewalk, then maybe a paved shoulder could be applied in that area. I'm not sure which is the best. I do have concerns a little bit with a paved shoulder versus a dedicated sidewalk, in that sometimes the paved shoulder, especially in the wintertime, the traffic doesn't realize where the road ends and where the shoulder begins. So it would be ideal if we could have a sidewalk at least part of the way up the street. The corner as you come off Highway 6 and start heading east, it's very narrow in there where the guardrails are, and that probably an area that would need a sidewalk of some kind, I think, just to get pedestrians off of the road, sort of thing. As you know, that area is dedicated to a 50 kilometer an hour zone, and we find that there's a lot of traffic that goes on that road and doesn't abide by that 50 kilometer an hour zone. Even some of our school buses we see go by are not doing 50 when they go by. So that's another area that because it is busy and because traffic does travel faster than we would like to see, maybe looking at policing and doing something with that in the future might be another option that we could help slow down the traffic there, but that's another time. So we're asking the council to seriously consider our request that something be put into the budget for 2014 so that we can hopefully resolve some of the issues that we see happening at that time. I think that's all I have this time. Margaret or Tom, I don't know if anything you want to speak to at this point. So thank you for listening, and hopefully you will consider our request.
Okay. Do you have time for any questions or anything like that? If there are any questions from council members? Well, you're going to get one here, Doug, if you've got time.
I don't have a question, just if Doug has a petition, he should submit it.
Yep.
Yes, I have
that.
Yes, I have that.
Ask the Public Works Director, Doug, and I thank you very much for the update, I guess, on pedestrian traffic on the Durham Road East. And ask Ken to sit in. And you are very right, we're in that point of doing some budget work right at the present moment, so we going to ask Ken to try and look at some options up there. The municipality, as a council, we've tried to do what we can to encourage development from industrial to residential development, and especially in our urban areas where we have services. But it's one of the things that it comes with a price, no matter what we're doing to be able to upgrade the infrastructure. So I'm glad to hear that in your, not fixated on one position at all. There might be other options that are out there. So I'm going to ask Ken if that would be possible to look at those other all options going forward into 2014. Any comments, Ken?
Yes, we'll certainly we will have a look at that, measure it up, and just see how much would involve for whether it's a paved shoulder or the other option that Doug mentioned, the sidewalk. But we'll get measured to the committee of the whole for the next budget meeting. So
December the 11th, see what happens. Okay. There it is. Some things work fast in municipal government. Go ahead, Doug.
One of the concerns that came up when we approached people with our petition is that the question, a couple people refused to sign because they were concerned that if they build a sidewalk, then their taxes are going to go up. And my comment to that was I would hope that this would be part of the infrastructure budget, or that there would be a budget somewhere that we could tie into without taxing the users of that that road, because obviously it was more than just, it's just us that use it. So I'd just like to let you know that there were some concerns with taxes increasing because of the sidewalk, and hopefully that isn't going to happen.
Well, Ken, at this point in time, we are looking at all revenue sources. You did indicate that it was a bypass road. I know we've got 28 put on it right there right now, but we could put 428, and put it in transponders. Tom's nodding his head. That sounds like a good idea, and be a toll road. No, well, personally, I can say I don't think we're looking at toll roads as of yet. There's a few bridges out there we have to build, and we may need that toll charges on some of them to make it feasible, but no, that would be an infrastructure project that would be wherever. We do have, when you mentioned about paved shoulders, in a number of our built-up areas, it is an option, and on that road, it may be the number one option. It may not be, but because of the snow plowing and whatnot, curbs on stretches like that tend to be a little bit difficult. So good that we have options here. So we'll take a look and have Ken come bring back something on the 11th when we have our budget meeting, which is a week from Wednesday. Very good. Okay. Anything else? The policing. I know that the Police Services Board, it is one of the things on speed. Interestingly, most of the time, not most of the time, but it has happened that the individuals that have been concerned about it have been the first people that have been ticketed. So I'll just be careful what you ask for sometimes. It has happened, yeah, and it is one of those ones. It's just when you're coming up the hill, all that you can see is blue sky, and when you're going east, that's all you see is blue sky. So it has a tendency to put the foot down.
That first section from the highway east to the top of the hill really is the busiest pedestrian area. So even if the police would sit in that area a few times, I think like any other places, you drive through Shelburne, you're going to get a ticket if you speed. So if people were ticketed a few times on that road, then they might say, hey, we have to be careful because we might get a ticket here, even though it's not going to happen on a regular basis. But I think just awareness that it is a 50 kilometer and they'll have to speed, slow people down a little bit.
Yeah. We'll take that back, give the, at the Police Services Board, a little more indication on that. Okay? Very good. All right. Thank you very much. And as I said, we'll get that, take a look at the options we have in the budget coming up. Good. Thanks, Doug. Mary? Thank you. Tom? It's an open meeting. You can stay for as long as you, really need to. Apparently the need's over.
Being at time standing still, I think we'll be.
Well, it's not so much about standing still, it's that it's correct twice a day.
Wait for no more.
Okay, thanks, Doug. Okay. We have one other delegation today. Matt?
Yes.
Very good. Matt Linsink is here, engineering firm, talking about our water power projects.
Yes.
And I just wondered, Matt, if you want to give us a presentation, which I understand you do. We have the podium over here that is mic'd.
Okay.
And the video cameras are up, so you look perfect for live TV today.
No promises.
The microphone is there, the button there, you'll know that it's on when it, the red sign, so it's the right side button on the microphone. There you
Wow,
go.
look at that. Beautiful.
Now yes, that engineering degree you have
Yes.
works wonders.
$30,000 well spent. Well,
Okay.
thank you for having us.
Thank you.
So I'm here representing our, our client, Robert Wilkins. He has just purchased property in Neustadt, Ontario, the old mill property. He's originally from Ancaster. He couldn't be here today because he's in Florida, so he's doing better than all of us. But he was a lawyer for most of his career, and now he has since retired, and he's in the business of purchasing and developing old properties and refurbishing them and bringing them up to. So he's done this many times in Ancaster. He's won awards from the Business Improvement Association and things of that nature. And now he would like to do that with the old mill in Neustadt. So he's purchased it. There's a second, I think he closes on the 4th of December on a second property in Neustadt. And what he's looking at doing at the old mill, in addition to refurbishing it, is he's hoping to turn it back into some kind of water power project. And he looks at it, he's going to refurbish the mill, turn it into some kind of restaurant or something, but he's hoping that this water power project will provide some cash flow to enable him to do that. And so what he's looking for is he'd like to do a feed-in tariff project as part of this water power project. So I'm sure you're aware of the solar projects that are going in under the feed-in tariff program. It allows for solar, wind, biogas, and water power. And part of the process is to apply for municipal council support, and that will improve his chances of getting a feed-in tariff contract. And so his request today is to ask for municipal council support, and the support is really just for the application, to endorse his application. We are in discussions with the Saugeen River Conservation Authority, starting those wheels in motion. There will be other building permits and things of that nature, electrical interconnection that has to happen after the fact. But this is just to apply in the current window that's open right now, to apply for a feed-in tariff contract. It'll be a 50 kilowatt project. It will use basically all the infrastructure that's in place there now, the existing dam, the existing pen stock, and the discharge. The actual unit will sit inside of the mill. He's hoping to have it built in such a way that he can have tourists come in, visitors, to see it, to see the local power that he's generating. That's kind of his vision, his long-term dream, but the first step is to get a feed-in tariff contract. So that's his request today before council.
Any thoughts or questions? We'll start down here. John, and then we'll go to Don. John, Councillor Eccles.
I know this is the first step in many to get going, but I've wondered for a long time why we don't use hydroelectric projects, especially when there's infrastructure in place that's viable. And I wish them luck, but like I said, it's just a first step of many.
Yes.
Don, Councillor Marshall?
We just had a report on that dam last week.
Okay.
Yes, and very interesting. That the discussion was whether it be upgrades put on that dam or maybe let it deteriorate until it finally disappears.
Right.
And I'm not sure where the intake is on this, or if the dam was ever to let go, the intake is probably going to be no more.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, and he understands there are lots of due diligence steps moving forward, and he understands that it's probably not something that he's going to get rich on, but it's something that he has a passion for, and this is, you know, he vacations up in that area all the time, so this is just something that's near and dear to his heart. But he is well aware, and we've kind of gauged him on those risks that are associated with what we would call micro hydro development.
so is he going to take responsibility then for the dam itself, for the upgrades and?
Yeah, that's his frame of reference right now, yes.
We shall have lots of conversations with him then. Carol, Councillor
Well,
Lawrence.
that's what I was going to suggest. At some point, we need to meet with him. First of all, I would assume he needs approval from the municipality to produce hydro from a dam that we own. I'm not sure even for the application for FIT, but we need to have a discussion because maybe we can work together, or perhaps he wants to take ownership of the dam, but we would need to go through that with him, I think, and have a good discussion on it and maybe come to a good resolution.
It's unfortunate he couldn't be here, but he would love to have that. He said to me multiple times, you know, as many stakeholders as he can have involved to, you know, he tells me often he's driven through Neustadt to go to the cottage. He always drives by the mill. He wants to see that kind of come back to life. And so if you're willing to have that discussion, he'd love that.
Well, as we said to the last delegation, we're always looking for development opportunities, individuals to express their dreams, whether it be from building a new home here in West Grey, starting a business here in West Grey, or refurbishing
Sure.
a property here in West Grey. What you're asking here for this morning is no different than we've had a number of solar individuals, proponents coming forward to ask for that. I don't know whether Mark has a resolution ready, but understanding the process, part of it is to get the FIT application in for a
Correct.
small project like this. So from this, I would entertain, it's on the business, and that's what you're asking, and I see the resolution going forward here to see whether we want to put ours together on this would be the first water project or hydro
Sure.
project that we're looking at. Bev, Councillor Cutting.
I do have some serious questions, though. We own the dam, so we're giving permission for hydro generation on one of our projects, and it's not in good shape. And I would think that by signing this, that we're sort of taking responsibility to make the dam in good enough shape for him to go ahead and make that a project. I would think we'd have to have a discussion with him first before we say, yes, that's fine, go ahead.
Not a question to me, that's a question
Yeah,
to
I mean-
Sure. And I think that's not his intent with this request. I understand your concerns. I think the wording at the end of the resolution, you know, where it says that this sole purpose to be used for obtaining priority points, he fully understands that the generation asset itself will be inside the mill. So that will be on the property that he owns, but he understands the interties between the city's dam or the municipality's dam and his asset. So he fully gets that. The way I interpret this and the way he interprets this step, he's not looking for that as part of this.
Mark?
Well, let me ask you this. In terms of our dam, the dam's just holding the water. The generation is not on our property, it's just holding back the water. But I think it would be fair to say if he doesn't get the FIT application, would he be willing to move forward? This would be step one of his moving forward, although he's not going to get rich off of this. He's looking at this as to get some subsidy from the FIT program. Is that correct?
This will help his economics. He's purchased the mill, he's committed to that location. He's interested in pursuing this further. He would step back and reinvestigate if he doesn't get this, but he's still committed to the vision. So I think he would, given the amount of generating capacity that's there, it may dovetail nicely with the amount of consumption that he may never export. So the economics may still make sense to do it just for on-site power generation. So he may look at it if he doesn't get it, but this is kind of the first stage gate in his project evaluation, for sure.
Okay, further, Don?
I guess the intake might be far enough upstream, Bev, that maybe the dam has no influence on where he's going to pull his water from.
Yeah. We're not certain on that. John?
As I said before, this is just the first step in the program. There's all kinds of opportunities for the Ministry of Natural Resources or Saugeen Valley to put a squash to it in the first place. All you're looking for is our support that we're in favor of.
We're just looking for support for his application to the FIT program. Not the whole project, just an application for a project.
Very good. And that, as you said, priority points from the municipality. It has nothing to do with who owns any of the infrastructure in and around it.
Correct.
That's got to be dealt with going forward.
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? So I have a motion moved by Mark Rapke and seconded by Carol Lawrence, whereas the capital terms not defined herein have the meaning ascribed to them in the FIT Rules version 3.0, and whereas Robert James Wilkin, the applicant, poses to construct and operate a 50 kilowatt water power facility, the project on 456 Mill Street, Newstead, Ontario, in the municipality of West Grey, under the province's FIT program, and whereas the applicant has requested the Council of the Municipality of West Grey, indicated by resolution council support for the construction and operation of the project on the property. Pursuant to the FIT Rules, version 3.0, applications whose projects receive the formal support of local municipalities will be awarded priority points, which may result in the applicant being offered a FIT contract prior to other persons applying for FIT contracts. Now therefore be it resolved that the Council of the Municipality of West Grey supports the construction and operation of the projects on the lands. The resolution's sole purpose is enable the applicant to receive priority points under the FIT program and may not be used for the purpose of any other form of municipal approval in relation to the application or project or any other purpose. I think that covers what you were concerned about, Councillor Cutting. Any questions on the motion? Then I'll call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? I'll declare that carried. Thank you very much, Matt.
Thank you.
Very interested in the project, as
Yes.
Councillor Eccles has indicated, with the municipality of West Grey having 4 tributaries of the Saugeen River and a number of other feeding creeks and streams into the Saugeen. We've had that question a few times, why there hasn't been more looking at FIT programs under the hydro program.
Yeah, and my father has been in this industry for 20 years, unrelated to what I do, and I told him about the dam, and he says, oh yeah, I know it very well. He says, it's only for guys who are going to do this with sweat equity. It's only for guys just like this. He said, big developers like they are, it's not big enough for them, but for guys like this who want to do it on a personal level, he said, have at her. So thank you very much, and I will tell Mr. Wilkins to get in touch with you guys, maybe through Mark as a first step, and start that discussion. So thank you.
Look forward to that coming.
Excellent.
Thank you very much,
Thank
Matt.
you.
Okay. And the same to you. Yeah. It's a public meeting. You can stay as long as you want. As long as you need. Okay. Thank you very much for the report. Where did my clerk go?
Let's get the reports.
Okay. Is there any business arising from the previous meeting? I think he went to get Carrie as well, too. I can't think of any. All right, then I guess we're down to staff reports, and we are just about on schedule. Well, there you go. Build it up. That spins them upstream. That would help. The water come down, produce hydro. Good side of days, let the fish go upstream. You want to ask Carrie to come? Yeah, she's coming. Oh. Okay, we're down to staff reports. We have our Director of Finance Treasurer. Good morning, Carrie. And the first point on Carrie's reports is the, excuse me, is our accounts. Before I introduce the motion, is there any questions on any of the accounts? Councillor Lawrence. Carol?
Thanks, I have a few questions. Page 10, Carrie, top of the page there, Freezy Cat Appliance repairing the deep fryer at the arena, and it's $621. Do you have the bill there? That's only 3 years old. I'm just wondering what would take, like that's about a quarter of the cost of it. So I'm wondering if it's something that was the fault of the fryer or the fault of the renter, or what, you know, if it's not being cleaned properly, or.
So it won't work sometimes. Voltage in the thermal
I think.
pile is only 220 megavolts, or MV. Try thermal pile all by itself. It is 720. Replace the gas valve. Now the voltage is 620 when connected. So something to do with the gas valve.
So there was
Labor,
something-
the gas valve was 293, and then the labor was about 238. Taxes.
It sounds like something to do with the installation. My second question, on page 11, at the bottom, the library, and there's propane delivered to Ayton, and then Sandy Hamilton for the furnace. Is that the library share, or is that going to be split out between the police and the library, and or the fire? Like that's $329 for the
This
propane.
is Sandy Hamilton? Is the...
Well, the propane North Wellington is $329, and Sandy Hamilton Plumbing is $261. So I'm just wondering if that's like a third of the cost, or is that cost not been split yet between the other tenants?
So that has been split for the propane, 329, 164 on the fire.
329, it's showing here
Yeah, the
against the
total bill was
library.
$494.
Okay. So, all right, police are not paying any of that then? Just fire and library?
Our contract with the police is a lump
Includes.
sum amount.
Okay, all right. And lastly, on page 12, Groove and Goocher, I guess it is, excavating the soil for the sidewalk at the Lions Park. Is there enough money left from the Lions, or will the Lions be billed for this, or are we paying that? It's to do with the sidewalk into the
Yeah, that was from
washroom?
the balance that they had overpaid last year.
So that's going to be covered by their money? Good, thanks.
Okay, thanks, Carol. Any other questions on the accounts? John, Councillor Eccles.
Page 16, we have Epicure product kits for recreation, Normanby. I'm sure it's a giveaway or a promotion, but I'm just curious as to what it was.
No, I can answer that. It's a fundraiser, and there's 156 Epicure kits that have been purchased. They're being sold at $20 each. For each kit, there's $5 goes to fundraising. So that's what that is.
I was sure that's up. I was just curious as to what. We had broken fingernails down there or whatever.
When you get your hands in there and get them dirty, sometimes they need specialized equipment to get clean. Okay, any other questions for Carrie on the accounts? Seeing none, then I have a motion moved by John Eccles and seconded by Don B. Marshall. Be it resolved that the Director of Finance Treasurer be authorized to pay the accounts presented as voucher number 22, 2013 of the Municipality of West Grey in the amount of $255,146.13. Any questions on the motion? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Okay. Now, back. Carry. The next one is a letter from the Rotary Club in Hanover for their, I don't know whether it's Valentine's, it's their dance in February anyways, of looking for support or corporate purchasing of a table. And Carrie is looking for direction. Council have any thoughts on that? John, Deputy Mayor Bell.
Well, unfortunately, I feel, Mr. Mayor, we have to treat this as we do other requests that come in and wanting us to donate to something of this sort. And I think if council members can go on their own, that's probably the best way to do it. But I don't think we can purchase a table with corporate funds, recognizing all the other requests would have to be treated the same. So this time I'd say that we'll just send them back a letter thanking them very much, but I don't think we can support the request.
Any other comments? That would be the way that we've treated it in the past, and a council member has sometimes taken the lead on that to take a table and go as a council. Do I take it, Mr. Bell, you're going to head up that and see if you can get some support? Councillor Eccles has got his wallet open already, so, you know, I don't know whether he's donating to you to, yeah, to work on it for your expenses, or go ahead.
I will gladly take Councillor Eccles' money, but there can be no promises made at this time.
Okay. I think, Carrie, the direction is to do that, and as a council, we may go as private individuals, be recognized, and we'd be recognized as a council at that point in time. But we'll do it on our own stead, not on the corporate go-around. Okay? Additional streetlight at Ayton at the library. It's a request from the librarian branch. I think Steve gave us a bit of an update on this at the Committee of the Whole and was recommending that we go ahead with it. We have the equipment in place. Any questions or comments on it? Well discussed at Committee of the Whole. I have a motion moved by Bev Cutting, seconded by Carol Lawrence. Be it resolved that the Council of the Municipality of West Grey hereby approves the installation of an additional streetlight at the Ayton Library location, which is right on Main Street at our fire hall.
Yeah, just to
Carol.
reiterate, it's on the pole that's already there, and we already have the light. It's just the arm and the installation. And it's to light the parking lot. It's quite dark, and a lot of seniors have been complaining coming out of the library. It is dark. I took a look at it. It is dark. So it's going to be, it's going to have a 45-degree angle, and it's aimed towards the parking lot.
Excellent. Okay. Any other questions or comments on the motion? Seeing none, I'll call the question then. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Okay. The next one was for discussed at Committee of the Whole and recommended to do some purchasing ahead of budget being fully approved. It's common practice to do a 50% of capital from our 2013 budget, and a request from the police to tender for 2 vehicles that was included. It's been reduced in their capital budget request. Any further comments on this? Mark, Councillor Racky.
I just have one. It says for the tendering of 2 police cruisers at a cost of 60,000. Is that the maximum, or if it's okay?
Yes, that would be the
So
upset
if it's
budget.
65,000, what happens?
You either got to find some in the reserve or find a cheaper vehicle. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
It would be untendered, and that's what's in our budget. Councillor Marshall, Don.
Is that including the painting, lettering, lighting?
Yes. Yeah. We have 2 different, and that's one thing with the light bars and whatnot. Because of the vehicles themselves being different, of course, a light bar from a Chrysler product won't go on but we have a couple of different sets there that could be transferred one way or the other. So we're reusing the present equipment that wouldn't be needing to purchase new equipment.
We're going to show a lot of savings if we tender early.
The thought is probably 25%.
I just look at the increase in the police budget and every budget, and the loss of the 227,000 from the funding. There's going to have to be some cuts coming here in the next budget talks, or a heck of an increase in the taxes going to go on. I know I'd like to see a savings, a 25% savings in the cruisers, but we're going to have to cut back in some direction. So I would like to see us purchase 1 cruiser, maybe, and then wait in January, February, and see where talks are going with how much we're going to spend or save.
Well, in saying that, for the last number of years, there's been $75,000 in the capital budget for police purchasing of equipment. As you can see, the police have dropped that to $60,000, so there in itself is a 20% reduction in their capital budgets from 2013 to 2014. Hopefully it's not going to have a negative effect going forward, and that we, by purchasing early, doing some due diligence, that the police services will be able to accommodate or address the issues that are brought forward from individuals like the delegation this morning, that we're looking on speed control, traffic control measures out there.
I see they were patrolling Highway 6 this morning, and they could have moved back Durham Road East.
I don't think that they were patrolling Highway 6, but they were, sometimes we're called to assist our OPP brethren that are out there. Highway 6, we won't be doing patrol on that, but because of its location, it is used as a way to get back to the station.
No, I don't think they're patrolling, they were doing radar enforcement, speed control on the north end of Durham this morning, I believe, which is in their jurisdiction, and they're doing their job.
Very good. Glad to hear that. Okay, any other discussion on the motion? Did I introduce this yet? I don't think I have. So I have a motion moved by John Eccles and seconded by John A. Bell. Be it resolved that the Council of the Municipality of West Grey approves the 2014 capital budget to a maximum of 50% of the 2013 budget to allow for tendering of specific projects, and further that the following project be approved: 2 police cruisers at $60,000. Could I just offer a friendly amendment? Instead of being 2 police cruisers, that it be 2 police vehicles? Thank you. Yeah, with this, put it under 3. Yeah. Okay, any other questions on the motion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Declare that carried. And just further on that, maybe towards you, Don, is that, we're looking right now with the funding cut that we have carries about a 3.5% cut in our revenue. With that in mind, Committee of the Whole, Council, or the committee had said, if we can get a blended rate in and around that 3% of a total increase, with the pressures that are even on the police budget, with this at $60,000, I believe, Bev, we are under the 3% increase in a police budget at this point in time. That's going to be something very difficult, I think, for other municipalities out there that have an OPP contract, especially at the end of 2014, when they know absolutely that they'll be in for a 9% increase on the wage level of the OPP going forward. So we'll see where that goes, and then some of the conversations have been out there with OPP contracts. The average, they want to go on a household average at this point in time, and the average household cost in Ontario for OPP contracts is $354, I believe, or somewhere in that neighborhood. The average in Bruce County is $175. The average in Grey County is about $200. They're $215. Any contracts after going into $215 will be on an average household price of $345 or $354 is what they are projecting. So it'll be anywhere from a 40 to a 50% increase in those contracts on a household basis for OPP, just as a thought. West Gray's on a household basis at the present moment, and that's all in, is we're about 420, in around that 400. Yeah, I think it's just a little over 400, but that's all in. The other thing that the 354 comes in on the OPP, that's for the base. If you were to have, a drug incident, a grow op or whatnot, there is a very good possibility that would be above and beyond the base contract. Okay. All right. Further, Don.
Sorry, just 3% on a $3 million budget is a lot more money than 3% on a $100,000 budget. So the bigger the snowball, the faster it turns down the hill. So it's just a growing. And I'm not picking on the police. It's just that it's just there should be maybe if a $100,000 budget might come in at 3%. But the $3 million budget should come in at 1%, just to slow the snowball down.
Well, I differ with you on that. I'd like to see the $3 million budget come in at a 3% decrease to get back into line with the community reality out there. But we're working on that through provincial organizations as well as locally. Okay. Carrie, any other interesting tidbits we can get involved with here?
Just a reminder to submit your timesheets if you haven't already.
Very good. Okay, any other questions of Carrie while she's with us here? I hear the papers rattling, so some people are taking your message very quickly. Okay, thank you, Carrie. We'll move down to Public Works. Director of Infrastructure and Public Works, Ken's with us here this morning. And the first one on your report, Ken, is a Blue Box program update. Waste Diversion Ontario, arbitration and whatnot, with everybody trying to find more money or money that we are owed. I'll let you discuss it, Ken. Give us an update.
Okay, it's, I think by reading the report, it's the industry are probably reneging a little bit on the payments to waste diversion. It's causing a
Shock.
bit of concern with the waste diversion as to their payments to the municipalities for their recycling programs. So I sure hope they get this ironed out, because I believe last year we did receive $100,000 we had in our budget from Waste Diversion Ontario, and we've put the same amount in this year, and we certainly don't want to see a decrease in that part of it. So recycling is a major cost to the municipality. So this is more for information. I don't think we can do a whole lot in-house here, but
We maybe can send a letter to Waste Diversion Ontario to encourage them to work to a very good settlement and a quick settlement on this issue, and encourage them to continue to work there or something of that nature. Might help out. Okay, bylaw 64, 2011. We have to amend that. Just some information here. Any questions on that while Ken is here? On our municipal or hazardous waste services agreement? Anything, thoughts on it, Ken?
no, I think it's just mainly a housekeeping procedure. They don't tend to cut our funding, so that's the main part of it for our side of it anyway. And it's more of a housekeeping, the bylaw, to bring it up to today's standards.
Okay, thank you. That bylaw is coming up on further on the package, the amendment. Emerald Ash Borer. Grey Sauble Conservation Authority is looking for partners. Is that what I read out of this? To Normanby, we have quite a few ash trees. The mayor has some around his house. Do they want to do a pilot project there, or what are they?
I'm not sure what they're really asking for. They didn't go into too much detail in their letter in regards to a joint effort. They've planned to quarantine Southern Ontario from almost into the outskirts of Northern Ontario, Highway 17, I believe it is. So, but they have indicated that it is now in Grey County as well as Bruce, and I guess the transporting of firewood back and forth to these campsites possibly is a problem. I'm not sure, but anyway, it's we'd have to find more information out on the joint effort that they're looking for. I'm not sure on that part of it.
Councillor Eccles, you're shaking and fretting down there. You obviously have something to say.
I hate to drag my soapbox back out and stand on and complain about the
Well, then just sit down and talk.
CFIA. This all got, when this started, they got the bright idea that they were going to keep it within counties. So in the far south end of Huron County, they had an emerald ash borer, so they let them haul all this stuff north. They blame it on firewood, but they hauled logs from one end of Huron County to the other. All of a sudden, it crossed that invisible line that we draw on a map, and it was in Bruce County. But they let them haul logs all the way north in Bruce County, and all of a sudden it's in our neck of the woods, and it just goes on and on. They've dropped the ball on this, and now they've put it back onto the conservation authorities to try and figure out a plan to stop it. Well, it's too late. It's everywhere. And I don't understand why Grey Sauble would be contacting us, because we sit in Saugeen Valley catchment area in the first place. Although the two conservation authorities do interact and work well together. But I was just waiting to hear from Saugeen Valley instead of Grey Sauble.
And I'm wondering, because the chair of the Grey Bruce Forest Association is a employee of Grey Sauble, wondering if that is, whether it is a coordinated effort between the two counties on the forestry project, and be kind of led through Grey Sauble at this point in time. I'm going to say my advice, it is going to be a problem. We had it 40 some odd years ago with Dutch elm disease. Have we eradicated it? Absolutely not. But it's worked its way through. Ken being on the roads, we're still cutting dead elm trees off there, but yeah, mitigating the factor. Emerald ash borer, what it's going to cause and how it's going to work through, I'm not sure, but if we can work together to collect more information, it's better than 4 of us trying to stumble down the same small path and tripping over one another. If we can work together to find that. Would council be in favor of sending a comment back that we would like to West Grey have further discussions on proposed solutions and be on that update list from the Forest Network? Don?
I guess proposed solutions would be nice. What I've been told is there's nothing stopping this bug. So they're going to eat up every ash tree that along the line until they get to the tree line up north where the ash trees stop. So as far as financial commitment anytime soon, I would say no.
I fully agree with you, because it's not something that is on a lower tier, because if it crosses boundaries the way it does, it's got to be some type of a income distribution or dealt with in that factor, and dealt with the Canadian Food Inspection Agency that deals with this, that it falls under there. We can help them in some ways and whatnot, but certainly not financially, and work out the way, and yeah, we don't set the policy on it, because as John has just indicated, the policy being you find it in one corner of a county and you say, well, the county, yep, it's in that county, it's identified, so nothing hauling out of the county. But when you take a look at Bruce County and how far it goes and the size of Grey County, if you start hauling stuff from Newstead to a mill in Walters Falls, yep, you're not going outside the county, but you're soon going to make sure that all the county has it instead of just one corner. Councillor Lawrence.
Thank you. Has there been any results through their experiment of in injecting those trees? Didn't they inject some, and that's supposed to stop it? And I just want to say, I would certainly agree with, let's see what the collaboration is, not hide our heads on this.
Yeah.
See where we...
Got a couple of people that want to discuss that. Deputy Mayor Bell.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. We had a conversation and a presentation at the county once, and yes, the injection of the trees, it's going to be an ongoing thing at the cost of $300 per tree.
But is it working?
And we
Seen. John?
It's quite effective if it's done at the proper time when the tree's doing a lot of uptake of nutrients and stuff out of the ground. You just inject it at the base of the tree and it will uptake, and it is effective. But it only works if you have a beautiful ash tree in your front yard. It's not commercially viable to go into a bush and as it gets going and people take it up and think it's a great idea to save the ash trees, it will become cheaper with time and more competition in the out there doing it. It will get cheaper, but it's not something that we can just go in and spray a whole bush and expect to accept it.
Bev?
It's put into it's not put into the tree, it's put into the ground around the tree, and it's absorbed.
And also, why is the Canadian Food Inspection Agency quarantining the trees? Are we eating them?
It comes in under the Food Inspection Agency because the beetle itself,
Is edible?
no, it's not. Well, it might be. I don't know how much chocolate you'd have to put on it for me to be taking it in. But it's a foreign beetle that come in from China.
In
So-
food products?
No, they believe that it come in pallets, in wood pallets,
Oh.
that it come into Essex County or the northern United States. But because it's a bug or that's why the inspection agency has jurisdiction over it. It was a pest that was imported. No, it wasn't legally imported, but that's why CFIA, it comes under their jurisdiction. John?
I believe that CFI has jurisdiction over all invasive species.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's an easier and a quicker way of saying it.
Yeah, I just,
Sorry.
that's all right.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Ken, can you see that we send a letter off to Grace Obel and say we'd like to be kept updated on their work and kept in the loop? Very good. Any other questions of Ken at this point in time? Snowplows are all working well. They got a bit of a test this weekend again.
Yes, there was some wet snow fell yesterday that had to be cleaned off. It's been fairly steady for November. Hope December is better.
Very good. Okay. All right. Thanks, Ken, for the report. Anything else to update us on? Ken?
Yes, I have left in front of council a report on the bridge that we briefly discussed at the budget meeting last week during the committee of the whole meeting. Mayor Eccles and I did have a meeting with Mayor Getz and the Public Works Manager from South Bruce last Friday, just to review some of the options that we now have after we've assumed control of the construction of the new bridge. As I've mentioned here, we have Yamson Manor were previously hired by the County of Grey and the County of Bruce to do some preliminary work, and they have done some preliminary design on the bridge, and we instead of going out to tender and possibly spend that $28,000 again, we agreed to bring it back to the councils for to move forward with the Gamson Manor instead of backtracking on the engineering. So Mark has prepared a motion for council's consideration, I guess, and for later on in the meeting. Yeah.
Yeah, for a notice of motion, a direct motion coming forward. Any questions or comments on the report? John?
Can we pick apart some of the prices?
Not yet? Go ahead, Ken.
Yeah, we have this, I'm sure, I kind of know what you're talking about here, but this, we're just in the preliminary design, and when we get the bridge built, we can certainly discuss what we want on the side of the wall. So yeah, that's in there, but that's certainly not been approved yet. So that's the plaque, I assume you're talking about, John?
Well, the only purpose of the plaque, as far as I'm concerned, on a bridge is to advertise the engineering firm that was responsible for the bridge. And I think we can put a more appropriate sign on the bridge for maybe $125 instead of $1,250. And
There's a few of those things, and that will be just estimates. These aren't tender documents that have gone out, but it will certainly be the estimates with what the engineer in his best guess. So if we wanted to lower some of this. Now, in saying that, the two counties have passed that the bridge be downloaded to the 2 lower tiers. But in coming with that, there is $500,000 from both Grey County and Bruce County to the 2 lower tiers to get this in place. And one thing that Ken, you really don't have in here is, you know, our, at least I didn't see it, our cost of what a kind of an estimated cost for a prefab bridge would be. We have that information at a 70-kilometer design, 2-lane bridge for this was just about $1 million. So on this case, I mean, Brent's got it in here at $950 for a conventional one, and the prefab at this point in time would be $1 million. No, the approaches would be above and beyond that. Just comparing bridge to bridge would be about $950 for conventional, and a prefab would be larger than that. It's South Bruce. They've taken a look at it, our partner in this, and they are their choice at this point in time would be to stay with conventional for this bridge. Okay, Carol.
I just wonder, this preliminary cost, for at least the preliminary design work cost, is that going to come out of that $1 million, or are the counties going to cover that over and above the transfer of money?
No, that was picked up by the 2 counties, and their motions are for $500,000 to each lower tier, so no, that's not part of it.
Yeah. Okay. So what we're looking for is to contract Gamsby and Manero. Motion be coming up as a direct motion to contract Gamsby and Manero to be the engineers of record going forward with this. South Bruce would like to, and I think West Grey as well too, to get going on this, do some of that preliminary work, the EAA, and reports that need to be done before we can get out to tender. Carol?
So I guess my next question is, any further costs will be coming out of the $1 million, or is the county still going to pay for the final design?
I think we can see if we can get the counties to, but no, at this point in time going forward,
ours.
it'll be ours.
Okay.
But by using Gamsby, we have that $30,000 worth of project money so far.
Right, okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay? Don?
On the back page, Ken, how much of that cost is ours? And how much is South Bruce's?
Estimated 265 there?
Yeah,
That would be 50%.
50% will be ours? So when they got the quantity up at the top there on the first two, 50% and 75%, what does that mean?
Well, first, we're providing information to Gamsby Manor. This first page, the 948, is the actual construction of the bridge plus 30 meters on each side of the bridge.
Yeah.
And their thinking was the counties that they pay for that, and the 2 lower tiers would pay for the extensions of the bridge from 30 meters and beyond. So that's what this 265 is. So it's yeah. So the way it worked out is the $1 million will go towards the bridge. 265 will be 2 lower tiers responsible for.
So number 1 on the back page, the mobilization, 50%. Does 50%, is that, they're only charging 50% because the equipment's already there? And that's, the unit price is $65,000. And they're only charging 50% of that because the equipment's already there? Is that why?
If I might, I think 50% of it goes to the bridge and 50% of it goes to the approaches. The next line, 75% of that is for the approaches, and 25% will actually be billed back to the actual bridge construction.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was, yeah.
You're exactly right. I think you're exactly right, John. The thought is that the bridge, whoever were doing the bridge on the tender,
Yep.
it would be a complete project. It's not two split projects. So that's why it's split out. The rent's got it split out the way it does there.
So our costs are potentially gonna be half of that 265,
About
plus what,
100, about 135,000, yeah.
plus whatever the overruns are on the bridge,
Or
over the $1 million.
Or the savings from two lower tiers doing it together instead of two upper tiers and going over cost. The 500,000 is in our bank account when we let the tender. So if we can do it at 900,000, as Ken and Adam will be directed to do, to find as many savings as possible, then we can use that 100,000 to offset our cost. Goes both ways.
I like your optimism, but if I was a betting person,
On this one, and, you know, I guess we'll see it better when we get into the tendering process.
I guess the advantage of a fiberglass bridge or over a concrete one, they're saying now maybe that the fiberglass ones will last 100 years or more. So in the, if they do last 100 years or 125 years, that same cost or maybe a little bit more for the fiberglass one would be a lot better spent if we're getting more years with the project. And the ongoing maintenance costs, the cement bridge at 25 or 30 or 40 years now is going to need maybe a new deck. Was that like most bridge, like the one downtown in Durham here, to go put a new deck on it someday? Where the
Yes.
prefab one does not need to be done?
Well, we're not sure whether it needs to be done or not, but
That's-
projections are, yeah. We've dealt with conventional bridges, prefab ones, we're still in the learning process. The hope is that you get 100 out of it, but there may be some product that we're using for de-icing that may have an effect that hasn't shown up yet. But yeah, no, you're right. On a yearly basis, it might be 20,000 a year to have the bridge in there over the lifetime, and a conventional bridge, it might be 25,000 per year, using those figures. But on a yearly basis, if it was 60 years for a conventional at 900,000 and $1 million for a prefab bridge and projected at 125, it's not hard to do the math. Your yearly cost is greatly diminished.
Yes.
But as I said, the South Bruce has done that. Maybe we have to get together with them again, but they're leaning towards a conventional structure at this point in time. Okay, John.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Hypothetical question, Ken. If you had a prefab bridge put into place and for some reason an abutment failed, are you able to pick that bridge up if you were going to fix the abutment? Same way as it was put in, would you be able to do that?
I would think you could just backtrack as to what we witnessed down there at the bridge there in the south end of Normanby, where I would think you could do that. This, just further to Don's question there, generally when the engineer makes the estimate out, it's usually on the high side. They kind of like to make themselves look good when it comes in a little bit lower, so I expect this is probably boosted up a little bit from what you may see in the tender, but I can't guarantee that.
No guarantees until we see the tender. Okay? So we'll introduce that at the appropriate time. Good discussion on it as a project. Anything else, Ken? Should be about it. Okay. Jesus, on transportation, we're going to introduce this now. Oh, we might as well do it now. Ken, there was coming up there's one other issue on transportation, and this comes more from the county perspective. I think Deputy Mayor Bell, who's on the Transportation Committee at this point in time, is dealing with entrance permits. County's put together, but I understand that the company that they're dealing with still has the county in a judicial procedure at this point in time, so have that, because the project is in West Grey, it's going to the county transportation meeting on Thursday, dealing with entrance permits and whatnot. And I'm not certain how the committee will deal with it. So, Mr. Bell, what's your thoughts?
Well, I did provide this information to council just to let them know. My thoughts probably revolve around the fact that I think there should be more collaboration and more goodwill, if we want to put it that way, between the County of Grey and West Grey, recognizing that these are in our judicial space in West Grey. Yes, it is a county road, but I would have hoped that there would be a little more discussion with Ken and maybe some people at the county about these, and not only how to go forward, but go forward in a manner that is a working partnership with West Grey. So I'm a little disappointed, and yes, we did just change committees, and I'm going back on transportation, but going forward on Thursday, I presented this to West Grey Council so they knew the thinking and what was going on behind there. And Mr. Mayor, you'll have to give the history before that if you want to give any of that, but this is coming up on Thursday.
Mark?
A couple comments that I had just reading it over, and just because these were, I think, fair concerns that we had at our level, is on point 7 on page, I don't know what that says. Page 5, yeah. On page 5, it says that they'd be responsible for damage caused to the property, but I don't know, I mean, we talked about using bonds there, but I don't know what mechanism the county would use if there was significant damage done, how they feel that, because there always is that potential, how they feel they would collect that money, so it might be something worth asking at your committee. The other thing is that under other conditions, the first paragraph says it requires information regarding haul routes and several other things, but I don't know, why would you recommend it before having that information forwarded? Like, it seemed like the recommendation was maybe a bit ahead of itself, and the same as the paragraph at the bottom of that page as well. There's still outstanding information and requirements that are listed there, but I don't know why it would be in an approval position without having that information first. So those were questions I had, that if you're going to count it's going to be discussed, just things that might be worth discussing at the committee.
So am I taking it, if I might, Mr. Mayor, Councillor Rapke, you would maybe be inclined to think, why would you have, or why would you worry about entrance permits before the project is actually approved? Yeah, exactly. And like, I don't know why the approval seems premature when there's still some significant outstanding requirements. That's my point, yeah. Very, very good.
And I believe that the company at this point in time has not entered into, hasn't come to an agreement with the County of Grey on using the road, the county infrastructure, the county roads. That's why they have appealed to the Ontario Energy Board to make a decision, and I'm pretty sure that the decision has not been made yet. So we're talking about putting entrance permits across property that the company themselves has appealed because of lack of consultation with the county, apparently. And here we're making this appeal, and now they want to come ahead and say that they're going to look for entrance permits across said property that they're waiting for the Ontario Energy Board to give them permission to use. Yeah, it does seem to be very strange that the county would be recommending without taking those factors in place. And I know Mr. Bell will make that comment very strongly to the committee and probably the director of infrastructure at the county. Maybe we could do it on Tuesday, tomorrow, when we have county council tomorrow night to the inaugural meeting for the putting in place the warden is coming up on Tuesday night. John?
Mr. Mayor, would it be prudent or necessary to forward a resolution from West Grey Council explaining their displeasure with said motion coming forward at the county level?
Carol?
Well,
Yes.
John beat me to it, but I was going to suggest that as well as having John take our concerns verbally, that perhaps a resolution from this council would be beneficial. And just, I think, to explain our displeasure as well at the lack of communication and our concerns on this.
Anybody have a problem with that? Would seem like a reasonable course of action here. Put forward a motion. Want to do that now, Mark, or do we do it under direct motion? So we'll do that as a direct motion as well, too. Okay? All right. And Mark's trying to put some verbiage together here for us. Okay. All right. Thanks for bringing that to our attention, John. Certainly got attention of our audience members now as well, too. Any other comments for Ken at this point in time? Oh, John?
I just wonder, Ken, if you've got anything to add to the resolution or think of anything, by all means, bring it forward and we'll include it.
All right. If I'm not mistaken, we're down to bylaws maybe at this point in time. Oh, sorry. Mark, I'm cutting you out. What was I thinking about? Mark, I forgot about the tender we have for the Shank Municipal Drain.
So yes, the lowest tender received for the Shank Municipal Drain Project is by Marquardt Farm Drainage Limited. Total amount of $233,696.43. It's been recommended for approval by the municipal drainage engineer, and I should note that the tender is about 10% below the estimated cost of the project, so it has come in under budget or under the estimate.
Okay, Mark, handed that was very interesting. We got those numbers. I think the last time that we did, we only had 2 on a municipal drain here in West Grey, and now we're up to 5. So the tendering process is getting very competitive pricing out there. Okay, I'll wait for that motion to come forward. Okay, so I have a motion moved by Mark Rapke and seconded by Carol Lawrence. Be it resolved that the Council of the Municipality of West Grey hereby awards the Shank Municipal Drain 2013 tender to the low bidder, Marquardt Farm Drainage Limited, for the amount of $206,811 plus HST of $26,885.43 for a total tender amount of $233,696.43 as recommended by the municipal drainage engineer. Any questions or comments on the motion? Don? Councillor Marshall?
Is that costing the municipality $34,800? Is that what I read there?
Yes, and again, if it's 10% below, it might be slightly less, but that is our apportionment.
A portion for the amount of water that the engineer directed that was coming off our road allowances and whatnot into the drain.
$35,000 almost, or no gain to the municipality.
you can look at it the one way, or you can look at it the other way, that having better drainage in that area, the road and the road structure will be improved. It's an engineering way of looking at it.
Yeah. All right, drive on.
Okay? Any other questions on the motion? Call the question on that. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Is this the integrated accessibility one?
It's not this one yet, there's one over here.
No. There's that. Okay. The next one, we have the Integrated Accessibility Standard Regulations Training, IASR training, and we have a individual that will do that to keep us in compliance with the, the OEDA regulations that are coming up on accessibility. And Mark has found this, and anything else you want to say on it, Mark?
Yeah, in my report, I noted volunteer firefighters, but it also does include volunteers on various committees and subcommittees, so it's full swath. It'll include probably library board employees, library, different boards, so it's quite detailed, quite rigorous, the requirements. The customer service training for accessibility was completed in 2009, same kind of thing. And we do have to follow up on that because that has to be ongoing as well. For any new employees, volunteers, they're supposed to be up and trained for that as well, and that's something we haven't kept up with, to be honest.
Okay. Councillor Lawrence.
How many are we talking? It's $250 per 15 people, and what kind of numbers are we looking at?
I wasn't able to find the numbers before, but I would anticipate it would be at least 80 or more. It doesn't come without a price, and there's going to be a lot more costs coming down the pipe.
Yeah, I've already had that. I was given that my last meeting of the Ellenwood Community Center Board by Brockton. They were carrying through with their volunteer boards, and it was actually Deb Roth, who is an employee. It's sure not very complicated, let me tell you. Like, really. But that aside, that's what the province is saying we got to do. But I just wondered if there would be anyone who could do it internally, Mark. Like, it was just a simple PowerPoint. You know, there's really not much to it, and it's about how what you have to do for employees to be able to have those with disabilities working for you, you know, all that kind of stuff. Now, the other thing that they did say on the public spaces, if a contract was entered into before December the 31st, 2012, you do not have to meet the disability, but if there's any new or refurbished construction after that date, you do.
Okay. I don't think we have anybody in-house that is qualified to do the training at this point in time.
I guess that was my question, is there a qualification? Because trust me, it's like you or I could stand up there and read off this PowerPoint, really. It's ridiculous what they're forcing us to do, but anyway.
Okay. I'm going to take John and then Beth.
Well, with all the new information that we've been given, like, I can see 6 times is $250, it's $1,500 plus mileage. For something, as Councillor Lawrence says, isn't very complicated. Is there materials to give out, or does this include roast beef dinner, or? Okay. Well, is this the only person that's available? I guess directed to you, Mark, or is there options, or anybody else, or do we want to investigate this other person?
Municipalities, some of them have their own accessibility coordinators, the county, Blue Mountains. I guess Deb Roth is doing it for others. There's Laura, somebody other from Grey Highlands, that's her duty. It really was never addressed very well at this municipal level. It was really something I had left with the CEO, former CEO. The customer service training was completed. It's just very difficult for me to get this done, to be honest, with everything else going on. And it's just the tip of the iceberg yet. We have accessible websites coming down that requires, I don't even know what it requires. I'm not sure if most of my colleagues do know what it's going to involve. We have heard that there's very few individuals that can even upgrade the websites to an accessible level WGCA or whatever it is, level 2 and then level 3 the following year or two. It's a little intimidating what all the requirements are, and certainly there's no funding that comes with it, which is another, I guess, typical now, seemingly, with the province, that they're implementing these programs with little or no costing and putting a lot more burden on staffing and more cost and pressures on the budget too. So whether or not certainly there's other companies that do it, individuals, but this seemed to be rather cost effective. I know Georgian Bluffs is having this individual do it. Wasaga Beach had her do it. She has 2 coming up in December, and one of them is Georgian Bluffs, but so price seemed to be about right. But I'll leave it to your discretion.
Bev?
Just a comment. I'm asking a couple of questions here. Catherine Schultz, who works for Breaking Down Barriers Independent Living Resource Center, is she actually a government official that is coming to do this? Or is she an independent firm that is offering to conduct these seminars? A good way to make money. And I'm wondering why, or if the actual seminar is on the website. Like everything else on government is on website. Can we not sit down and actually do a webinar or read? If it's just a PowerPoint, can we not read it and sign off at the end or something that we've done it? Like, I don't understand this. Why does this have to be done in person?
I would say this is an independent company that's for profit. This accessibility is a great opportunity for consultants to make money. Their PowerPoint presentation, I assume, will be copyrighted, as others would be. I'm not aware of PowerPoint presentations that are available. Maybe, I'm not sure where Deb Roth got it, if she got it off of a website. Who's going to do the training? Who's going to keep the recording of even the ongoing part of it?
But if it's a training is for IASR, can we not do a little bit, like get Eunice just to do a little bit of research and see if there is something on the website that we can do rather than contracting an independent person to come up and stand and do a PowerPoint for us?
I would say at this time, probably not, because we need to have this
It was supposed to be
done
done in December.
end of December.
It's not going to be.
And
It's not going to be, so.
no, now, we get a bit of leeway, but trying to investigate that. I don't think that the province, I do, in my mind, I understand where you're going. I said it on a couple of other boards, and they have in-house training. You can read through it on the web, flip in and take a test on it, and you've got to go back, and sometimes you got to do it 2 or 3 times till you get the correct score, and 90% on it or something of that nature. And then that would feed into it, and it might be a very appropriate way for the continuing education on this for the province to do it. But at this point in time, I know that they don't have that out there, and as Marcus said, the consultants are lining up here to provide the training. It's a Make Work project. Go ahead, Mark. Thanks.
Customer service training was completed. We had hired AMCTO, a representative through AMCTO, to do the customer service training, so we didn't do that in-house either. Just for your information.
Carol.
Thank you. I just wanted to say, Mark was saying how much there is to it. And like, watching that presentation, it's staff that's going to take the brunt of this. That presentation in terms of employees and, you know, let's say a road employee or something, or boards, it really doesn't mean a lot, but all of the things that have to be done, it's really going to fall on staff, that's for sure. But I was wondering, like, could we contract with, for instance, Brockton or Grey County or somebody for less than the 1,500 to, if they could come out and do those? Like, there's no test, Mr. Mayor. We watched it, we signed a thing that we're there, you know, that, I guess the test was could you sign your name, but it was... No, but if there's people out there in the municipalities that, you know, can give this, we may be able to collaborate with them and contract something.
Better use your button. Better use your button.
John, did you have a comment? Want to think about that comment?
We're talking, if we have to pay somebody to go and train the trainer, we have no idea what that cost is, and I think that maybe we better get this done and get marching forward, and we can look at them in the future when we're not under such a time constraint. But I think we better get on the road with this, or the financial ramifications may be a lot worse than what we're looking at for paying this.
Okay. I do have a resolution here. That may be the idea, I think as Councillor Eccles has said, Carol, stroke this one off and get it out and try and find more reasonable or more competitive solutions to the training going forward. Go ahead.
Yeah, because I think there's a lot of this coming down the pike. It's not just this one. And, you know, as I said, if we can collaborate with one of the municipalities that has somebody, you know, when we have 80, that's a lot at $250 per 15 people.
Go ahead, John.
I think that may be a conservative number. We have 80 firemen in West Grey.
Yes, you're right. Yeah, it's more like probably 150 if you can count all the boards and everything.
Yeah, John?
Well, obviously, it's a way to make money, because what difference, like, why just 250 for 15? Why not 250 for 50? Recognizing we can put 50 people in a screen in the hall in Durham and somebody come and do it and be all done in one night. Like, I don't understand that part of it.
Okay. We'll put forward the motion here at this point in time. Good discussion. I don't think we're going to resolve the time constraints we're under right at the present moment. Have a motion moved by Don B. Marshall and seconded by John Eccles. Be it resolved that the Council of the Municipality of West Grey hereby approves the proposal of Integrated Accessibility Standard Regulations, IASR training, outlined in the letter dated November 25th, 2013 from Catherine A. Schultz, Employment Programs and Accessibility Coordinator with Breaking Down Barriers Independent Living Resources Center, Inc., at a cost of $250 per every 15 persons, plus mileage. Any questions or comments on the motion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries. Now, yeah, before we get on to the next time constraint, can we look at, and Mark has just said he will fan out to his other municipal counterparts and find out what we're doing. Don, Councillor Marshall.
This might be one issue that we can take as a delegation to the Good Roads and talk about where the finances are coming from and where they see this ending. which I know they don't see it ending, but put the question to them, how much money do we have to spend?
Well, and yeah, and I don't know whether it's around the spending of just in one single vision. Are there other ways out there to present this information? As I said, you know, from personal experience, and I know John sits on another board with me as well too. There's legislated training that we must take to sit on that board every year. But the collaborative of companies have come together, put together an online training, and as I said, there is an exam after going through the training that you take. Essentially downloaded to wherever, to the regulator saying, yep, check, 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 that those individuals on the boards have met the requirements. I don't know what it's costing the company at this point in time, but it certainly, I think, would be something that the province could put out there to be able to use technology and produce that type of requirements at a lot easier access to individuals that could be in Deep River or wherever trying to find one of these trainers to get up there. Don?
I agree, but then John just said it, at the very least, AMO should be picking this up and doing this as a whole
and maybe
effort.
Yeah, putting a portal together to do it. Carol?
Just wanted to say it's not so much the cost of the training sessions, it's the cost of the changes you're going to have to make. And what you're putting in place, that's where your cost is. And no money coming down.
Correct. Do you have another comment, Mark? Go ahead.
Well, it really stems, you know, the human rights code and all that, so it's a difficult thing it's a sensitive issue to discuss. How inclusive can you be or should you be, given the costs that are involved? So there will be interest groups that will really be focusing on that legislation and making sure steps are taken and those opportunities are given. I would think particularly in the metro areas, but they will trickle down here too.
Don? Councilor Marshall?
Well, it might be mandatory to have an elevator in the Durham Library, but it's not mandatory to have a bridge that runs from here to Priceville. So, well, if they make us spend money somewhere, we have to take it out somewhere else, then we'll just keep on eliminating the bridge that 2,000 people a day drive over and see where the province goes then. See if they don't start putting heat back onto this legislation that are making it that we can't afford all this stuff.
Very good. Okay. All right. Very thorough discussion, and we'll look forward to that coming forward. Thanks, Mark. Any other questions of Mark before we leave the clerk's report? Bylaws. Then we'll go into that. We have 2 bylaws that are in front of us. The first one dealing with the appointment, annual appointment of the West Grey Committee of Adjustment. Before I introduce it, question there? Go ahead, Ben.
I was just wondering if Dave Mullison's had an awful lot of health issues. I'm wondering, since it's a small committee, if maybe we should consider replacing him for this year. It's just, if it was a larger committee, I would say fine, but it's a small committee, and if one other person can't be there, it makes it rather difficult for 2 or 3 to make decisions like this. I don't know. That's up to council, and I'm not trying to get Dave off it. I just, I think it's an important committee, and he has had so many health issues the last year or 2. I think it might even be a relief to him to be off something like this that is called every month, and we do have a meeting, and I don't know.
What's the legislative requirement?
There's no requirement for 6. With 6, though, a quorum is 4. With 5, a quorum is 3. 50% plus 0.1 or whatever, 1. Again, I'm not sure what Councillor Mollison's thoughts would be on that, not being present.
No, and maybe we should delay this and just ask him if he wants to be on the committee or not, because it is, I think if it was me, I would be feeling guilty at the amount of meetings I was missing being ill. So maybe he would prefer to not be named on this committee, and we should give him that option. Yeah, I think so. I just think that's a nice thing to do. Yep, okay.
Okay, we'll discuss that at the next meeting coming forward. Thank you very much, Bev. We didn't introduce it, so we can put it on. We'll look forward to that coming in for the next meeting, due to December the 16th. I believe it is, Mark. Okay. Next one is a bylaw to enter into the municipal hazardous waste agreement. Okay, I have a motion moved by John Eccles and seconded by Don B. Marshall. Be it resolved that bylaw number 87, 2013, being a bylaw to amend bylaw number 64, 2011, being a bylaw to enter into a new municipal hazardous or special waste services agreement between Stewardship Ontario and the Municipality of West Grey, be now read a first, second, and third time, passed and numbered, and that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and the CEO, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and be engrossed in the bylaw book. Is there any further questions or comments on the bylaw? Seeing none, call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That one's carried. Okay. Guess then we're down to new business. Oh, Mark, do you have one? What do you got for us, Mark?
I was given this, some permission forms, memorandum of understanding from the Ontario Federation of Snowmobile Clubs. Mr. Gould had given that to me. They're looking for authorization to utilize looks like the Normanby landfill site, and then as well as the unopened road allowance at Side Road 20 between Bentic Normanby Town Line and Concession 18 Normanby. So there's the form that they have provided, which I have a copy of. I can give to you.
Carol?
Have they used those areas before, or is this new?
I may get the Director of Infrastructure in here to help answer some of them. Oh, thanks.
Is there 2 or 3, or what do we get here?
Just one, it's double-sided. It's one with
Yep.
different ones each time.
Oh, so there's 2 of them there. Sorry, I only took one.
One on the other side.
Ken, we have obviously a request from the snowmobile clubs that come in late last week. The question was, are they using these roads or have used them in the past? And this is just an annual request? Go ahead.
The application at the Normanby landfill is an old one. It's been used continuously over the years. This is the first year they've come out with this, well, I guess it's like a waiver where if we sign that, we're not responsible for anything that did, if something happened on the trail that an accident or something like we'd be naming the third party, so. The other one is, I think it's a new trail there. It's on the unopened road allowance between the Normanby-Bendick Town Line and Concession 18 through, I guess it'd be beside Doug Hammond's property. Come out, the cemetery is there at,
Oh, okay.
yeah. But they have got permission from Mr. Hammond to, I believe they're going to use part of the road allowance and swing onto his property, so, yeah, this is, Kelly Lawrence is kind of taking over this part of it, and he's getting signatures where it's warranted, so just a different procedure.
Okay. John, Councillor Eccles.
Isn't this the same piece of road that the West Grey ATV Club got permission to use? And how are we going to get the two of them to agree to each other, because none of them wants either one running on their trails?
I'm not exactly sure on that one, John, but I would hope the ATV Club wouldn't be running in the wintertime, but I guess they get a nice groomed trail, they possibly would, but no.
Yes, there is something to stop them, our road bylaws and whatnot, the same as what would stop them if they were speeding on any of our road allowances. So they're not supposed to be out there on those trails between the
They can be out in
50
December, though. Those were pretty long time. That I think it was December, and because
it's
I
the
remember us
15th.
talking about there could be snow then.
It might be December 1st, but I thought it was the 15th of November.
I thought it was the
till April.
15th of December till the 15th of March or something like that. There could well be crossing between ATVs, and maybe we better check that bylaw, Mr. Mayor, just for the timing on the ATVs.
Yeah. John?
No, I think it's the 1st December they're done, because that is right in the bylaw. I know there's a date right in the bylaw, it's very clear. I also know that they were putting up their snowmobile stakes yesterday for the trails. So those are up in certain places of West Grey. So we can check. I do know that we did make a specific sunset clause on when they could use that.
I don't know if it's even that important. We're just giving approval. They have to learn how to play nice, just like everybody else that uses shared facilities. So by giving our approval, we're not saying they get exclusive rights. We're saying that they can use it. So I think they can probably play well together without too much concern. And it's really their issue to resolve, I guess, is my point.
And it's December 15th to March 1st.
I thought so.
Yep. Now, I think we'd still have difficulty having snowmobiles out there at the present moment. But anyways, the ATV one is December 15th to March 1st.
Well, if snow's still March 1st. I just wanted to go.
Yep. And we could be planting crops on the 15th of February too. The nice part about it is we can't predict the weather, and we're better off having it that way. Okay, Don, man.
Do we have to do one of these for every road that the snowmobilers are going to drive on? We'll get a lot of sheets of paper.
This is from the, I believe the Normanby, Normanby Newstead or Hanover Newstead or Snowmobile Club, so. The other one's Durham. Kelly's kind of looking after it now. I think the reason why we have the one from Durham is for some reason he's got involved with it. I'm not sure why, but that's the only two I have so far. Whether there's more to come or not, I'm not sure, but they do certainly travel on a lot more road allowances than what's there.
Carol?
Excuse me, we normally get an agreement in here from the Snowmobile Club, given, where we approve them using the trails, not a separate one for each one, but we haven't had that yet, have we?
Nope. Not as of yet.
And proof of insurance.
maybe they've changed their manager or their directors or something, but, yeah, and, we need their proof of insurance and everything else. Do we go after them for that, because they're gonna be out there, or do we wait till they come to us?
We can certainly put it out to the snowmobile season's coming, any use on our roads. Now, I'm not certain who we send it to, but it would be to get the agreements in here so that the trails can be opened on unopened road allowances. Ken, you might know somebody to
I'll find
contact?
out from Kelly Lantz. He seems to be involved with it now, so I'll
Yep,
get some information from him.
okay.
Okay.
Follow up, and we're looking on that expectation, then it'd be nice if they came with a map in West Grey as to what roads, they've got a certain amount of historical trails that they're using, and we can have that all together. It would be better than, as Don said, piecemealing 2 side roads this council meeting and maybe 3 next council meeting, or 33 would be better if we can get them all. Don?
Just wonder why they wouldn't do the whole municipality all-inclusively.
I know there's different snowmobile associations involved within West Grade. There's the one up towards Markdale, and I believe there's one comes out of Sullivan Township, isn't it? Chatsworth.
Yes.
So there is
Over by Markdale.
quite a bunch of them, but it would be nice if they all got together and give us one map.
Well, this here though is coming from the Ontario Federation of Snowmobile Clubs, so this is their governing body, and that's where the insurance is coming from. So it was all inclusive to wherever they rode on municipal property. Whether it's going down a ditch somewhere or crossing a road, we're not liable. So.
Just thinking of that, though, if they just came to the municipality, does that open them up for the part where they didn't have a trail, but they've got an agreement with us? That's why it's identified as, specific areas. If they said it was all the municipality, then they've got to be there in the responsibility of all activity on snowmobiles, whether it's on trails or not. That's why I'm thinking they did do it specifically. Okay. Okay.
There's no time frame stipulated other than a 60-day change or cancellation. That is section 6.
How does the council want to deal with this? Ask Ken to get back to Kelly, Lance, and is these the only ones we have coming forward, or do we have to look forward to this for another half dozen next council meeting? Can we do them all at once?
Yeah, it'd be good if they had one form just listing all
Are we better off with that idea? Okay, Ken? We'll with Kelly. And I guess what we're doing is see whether the Durham Club, and they'll have affiliations, I believe, with that Chatsworth over near Markdale. I don't know whether we have anything coming out of Southgate or not. Any other clubs? I think they're more lined up with the Durham Club, but Hanover and Newstead, Chatsworth, and this one coming out of the Klondike there. So get the word out. We'd like to do them. Chesley might come up into Bentic up in there. Yeah? Yes, they did. So maybe tell Kelly we'd like to do it all as one instead of piecemealing it together, so maybe just leave it to Kelly to contact the rest of his known snowmobile enthusiasts, and we can get it all done on the next agenda. Mark?
I was looking at the bottom corner of this one, Ken. I think Karen Bertinsky's the regional rep. They have her number down the bottom. It might be better just to make one phone call and say, do you want to, what is the requirement from FSCS, and can you tell your members to, contact us or something? It's just a suggestion. I just noticed her in the bottom corner there.
Ken?
Are they required to notify us if they're on an open road? Because they're a licensed, snowmobile's licensed vehicle. Do they, because because I know they travel down some of the open sides of the open roads too, so
I don't believe that they are.
it's just the unopened.
Yeah, it's the unopened one that they need permission and access to. The other factor, the other one that's in here, as Mark was just indicating, is number 6. Is it my understanding that this is an open year after year? It's not something that's annually, it's just, because it says here, each party shall give 60 days prior written notice to the address changes cancellation to this agreement. But there's no date on the agreement if it ever runs out. So is it in perpetuity that they have that?
Access prior to and after the winter months, and before. So there's no date, time frame prior to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then number 4 is an interesting one too, that the owner occupier verbal consent on each occasion shall have access to the designated premises prior to and after the winter months for the purpose of opening, closing, upgrading, maintaining when there is no snow cover. So do they have access by foot or other mechanical means? Anyways, we'll look forward. Can we kind of set this one aside and get some of those questions answered, maybe to that 1-800 number to the executive director and bring it forward? Okay? Anything else, Mark,
For me.
that we're going to bring up? Good. Thanks, Ken. Addendums. Notice motion or direct motion. I think at this point in time we have 2. One dealing with a resolution going to the county for the East Durham Wind Project. Comments on that. And the second one being one for Gamsby and Manorel to be the engineer on record for the Normanby-Carrick Bridge project. I need a 2/3 majority to introduce these 2 direct motions. All those in favor of introducing the 2 motions? Any opposed? That's carried.
2 agreements to sign.
Okay, the first motion, have it moved by John A. Bell, seconded by John Eccles. Be it resolved that the Council of the Municipality of West Grey hereby authorizes Gamsby and Manorel Limited to complete the engineering, design work, and tendering for the Normanby-Carrick Bridge. Any questions on the motion? All those in favor? Any opposed? That is carried. Okay. Yes, Don? Go ahead.
Just, we did comment on this before, that 70 years from now, we are taking the possession of that bridge and off the county's hands. And 70, 75 years from now, some council is going to send back a message to us on the grave that they're very, very appreciative of our downloading that we accepted.
When it comes to transferring, we really don't have any option. The Municipal Act says that the counties can, at any point in time, without consent, download bridges. Yes. It's right in the Municipal Act. The Municipal Master Transportation Plan for Grey County. If you think this was a good bridge, because there was $500,000 in funding came with it. There may be some other ones that, now I'm only saying maybe because we've had some very long discussions on the master plan. We'll see coming forward. There's been certainly no decisions made, and there's still gathering of information and everything on the master plan, and it has a lot more context in it, it's not just dealing with downloading roads and bridges or uploading. It's the plan itself in transportation movements from pedestrian traffic right through to industrial truck traffic, and how that is dealing with airports and all kinds of transportation issues there. The one certainly, though, that catches everybody's eye is what roads are we going to get downloaded? And there's a few around this council table will know that the last time that Grey County did that, West Grey was the favorable recipient of about 85 kilometers of road, and there was about 25 or 30 kilometers of road that was uploaded. So all the other municipalities in West Grey had a differential of 40 kilometers, and West Grey had 45 kilometers. We accepted more county road downloads than anybody in that go-around. There doesn't seem to be, at this point, as much focus on that, of getting rid, but we'll see coming forward what's coming out of the master plan. Okay? We have one, I haven't signed that one yet. That's why I put the pen in there to mark that spot. Okay, the second one we have is direction for county councilors, representatives. I have a motion moved by Bev Cutting, seconded by Carol Lawrence. Be it resolved that the Council of the Municipality of West Grey hereby requests the West Grey Council representatives on Grey County Council discuss council concerns relating to proposed approval of NextEra Energy entrance permits by Grey County as noted in the Grey County Committee Report TR TAPS 7313. Questions or comments on this motion? Call the question. All those in favor?
I'm just wondering if that's
Councillor
strong.
Lawrence.
I'm just wondering if that's strong enough. I thought we, as a resolution, were going to state our, our concerns, and we're just, in that motion, we're just asking our representatives to discuss it. I'm not sure if that's quite strong enough. I mean, we want to make our displeasure known to all of council, or all of county council from this council, not just ask our representatives to be messengers.
Well, I think that's my understanding of what's being meant by this, is that, let's be fair, John and I let all county council representatives and staff understand West Grey's concerns on this.
Right, so
report.
then I hope they'll at least have a copy of that resolution in front of them?
Can make that available for distribution tomorrow.
I'll ask for that, yes.
Okay.
Yep, and leave it on the, there that the discussion will start. Okay?
Right, okay.
Yep.
Thanks.
Any other questions or comments? All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Okay. Brings us down to question period. Any questions? Councillor Cutting.
I wonder if that resolution should be forwarded to the number of other municipalities in Grey County that have issues. I think if they had a heads up and were aware of our concerns, that they may, rather than being sort of approached right at the moment, if they had a little bit of a heads up, I think it should maybe be CC'd to a number of other municipalities in Grey County.
Okay, well, it's your motion. You moved it. Is that what you would like to do?
That's what I would like to do.
Okay.
Thank
And
you.
that's, we'll ask staff to do that.
And the MOE. I think that would, maybe the MOE should be.
Yeah, just a very general letter and the motion itself, Mayor. Go to, circulate it to the other 8 lower tiers and MOE.
Yes,
Yep.
and is there are specific people on the TOPS committee that are from those other lower tiers?
One from every municipality.
Right, I would like to see that one on the TOPS committee from each municipality, make sure that they receive a copy specifically? Can we email them?
Can we just not make it available to the wind concern group? Because this is going to the, what John and I are going to do is leave it for the other 16 councillors that are on county council, so that represents all of them. You're talking about that wind concerned.
No, I'm talking about the representatives from each municipality that's on TAPS. Could they get a copy specifically?
They will. We're giving it to all 18, so specifically it would go.
And it
There's
will
9
go
members.
before.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll give it to them on Tuesday
Okay,
night.
that's good.
And
Yep.
then they'll have the heads up there
Okay.
beforehand. Okay, no, I'm sorry. I wasn't just certain which group you were talking about. But no, that'll get it to all members of council, which would be all the members of TAPS.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any other questions? No? That's it from the audience participation. No municipal act notices. Mark? Adjournment. Do we have a debate down there? Councillor Cutting moves that we adjourn. We stand adjourned. Thank you. Bev? That was nice. Thank you for that report, Mr. Eccles. I finally got a nice sign down here. We're quitting. Okay. Thank you.